Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to Bring the Heat. We're your hosts, Ryan, Bashar, and Miriah. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Great.
Great.
Here.
Happy Tuesday. 49ers are 4-0, so things are great in that aspect. Chat, what's up? Hope everybody's doing great. Melissa, I see you. Throwback, of course. Two of the most dedicated.
When your team's like 4-0, does that make like every day of the week like a victory day? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's not just this week we won every single week. So like isn't it every day is victory Monday?
Yeah,
It's been
so
victory
far.
month.
Yep.
There
Yep,
you go.
exactly. Hopefully it's going to be a victory year at the end of the
For
day.
real.
Please.
What's up, JDLR? I
Please.
see you. So before we
Job.
get into specifics about any game or anything like that, I was thinking earlier about the term franchise quarterback, and teams like Buffalo or obviously Kansas City, the Bengals, even though he's not playing great right now, but they just paid their quarterback, right? When you think about those teams, obviously they have a franchise quarterback, right? Well, we have a quarterback. So to you guys, like, what does a quarterback have to do, I guess, or what specifics go into having a quarterback become a franchise quarterback?
Okay, so first things first is like, you got to be at the tops in terms of stats, either top 5 or at least top 10. You got to be, your team has to win, obviously, and it helps if you win playoff games, sure. And staying healthy is a big, huge factor, obviously. And there's moments where you may have to carry the team on your shoulders. So those are all signs of a franchise quarterback, at least the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan?
So it depends on the system, I would say. And when you started asking this question, I kind of changed my thoughts on this because if I didn't think about this in our situation with like Brock Purdy, I would answer just like Bashar did. But I think really it's somebody who knows exactly how the system's supposed to execute and goes out and executes it. And if the system is right, then that quarterback should be in a top tier of some sort of stat category, I would think. If the system's right and the quarterback's executing it correctly, you'll see even somebody who might not be a quote unquote franchise quarterback on another scheme. So, like, imagine taking Brock Purdy and saying, okay, you're going to take Patrick Mahomes' spot. Is Brock Purdy a franchise quarterback for the Chiefs? I don't think so. Is Brock Purdy a franchise quarterback for the 49ers? Oh, I think so. You know what I mean? He runs this offense the way it's supposed to be ran, and he does it in a way where he can put up 30 plus points a game. And so, to me, Miriah, great question. Thank you. Just in the time of you asking that question, I had to rethink my whole thoughts about this because it's true. Like Brock Purdy, I would say he's our franchise quarterback without being a quote unquote franchise quarterback. Because that's what everybody else would, I guess, think.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, all those things, I guess, that you both mentioned going into it. I guess my next question would be, how long then in your mind does a quarterback have to do those things in order for you to say, okay, I believe this guy's a franchise quarterback?
I think it maybe not how long. You just have to feel confident in the consistency. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting funny feelings in your stomach when the quarterback's feet start chopping, like that's not there yet. Not there yet. You know what I'm saying? But when you only get those funny feelings in your stomach after it was almost an interception, you know what I mean? Like you didn't know it was a problem till the very end. You know what I mean? I guess that's where the sliding bar is.
What do you think, Bashar?
I mean, how long has? I mean, maybe about 2 years of similar type play, perhaps. We've seen, guys like Nick Foles, or a lot of flashes in the pans in this league. We've seen it on our team, ever since we lost Garcia. Just here go, look at Kaepernick, or look at Jimmy, or we saw Alex Smith had a brief little short run, and longevity would be a great thing if we could finally have it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I guess the reason I ask, is because I was listening to a show, shout out to Sports After Dark, and somebody had commented on there, I think it's time to put Brock Purdy, not, in the quarterback top, 10 list of all time, but for this season, I think it's time to put Brock Purdy in the top 10 quarterback conversation. Now, this person was not a 49ers fan. They're a Falcons fan. And a lot of people commented, and it was pretty split, where, there was a lot of people that agreed, it is time for the conversation. There was, of course, a lot of people that disagreed. And so when I went to look at, some things about Brock, and, really sat down to think about it, because I guess, the conversation gets brought up, and, it's never about, how well Brock's playing because of Brock. It's how well Brock's playing because of the weapons, because he has Ayuk, because of CMC, because of Kyle Shanahan, because of every other reason you can think of. And then it's because of Brock, right? And it's like, but when you look at the numbers, he's leading. And of course, it's just through 4 games. But through 4 games, a lot of other quarterbacks aren't in these talks. He hasn't thrown an interception through 4 games. This last game, he only missed 1 freaking throw. Like, when's the last time we saw that? You look at all the top, this percentage, that percentage, a percentage for this and that. He's leading most of those talks.
Or he's right there with the top. Yeah,
exactly. His team's 4-0. The guy hasn't lost a football game that he has started and finished since he took over for Jimmy. And yet, and up until all this time, it was always, the 49ers just need a quarterback that can, do this, do that, do that. But everybody said Jimmy was that guy. We never saw the 49ers look like this. The 49ers won games because their defense carried the 49ers. The offense barely put up points, and the defense had to continuously save their ass and get the opposing team to score only 3, 6, 9 points to keep us in friggin' games, because our offense couldn't put up points most of the time. Right? And you always knew Jimmy was going to turn the ball over. Like when I tell you guys, people think I'm lying about this, but I would watch the team that I love, right? Sit down on a Sunday, and I would be nauseous watching Jimmy Garoppolo play quarterback, because I knew it was just a matter of time before he was going to turn the ball over or do something stupid. So it's like you're watching, just waiting for a train wreck to happen. Now I can watch 49ers football and actually enjoy it and know, okay, if Brock does turn it over, I know that this offense, not the defense, the offense is going to be able to save him and be able to put up enough points on the next drive, the drive after that, the following drive, whatever. They'll be able to put up 30 plus points regardless. And, I think it's time to have that conversation and look at, Jimmy could never, it seemed like he never did what Kyle Shanahan wanted him to do. If he went this way or with the ball, Kyle didn't want it to go there. He wanted it to go over here. Kyle was always on the sidelines, pissed off, throwing his freaking sheet, freaking slamming his board, yelling at Jimmy in the freaking headset. He never complimented Jimmy. It's like now we hear Kyle, he's like smiling on the sidelines. He's getting up to the press conference after saying that Brock did a good job, that he played great. Like, what? We already saw that he hugged Brock, like so many things. Like, when does Brock finally get the credit that he deserves? Like, when is it time for finally not just the faithful, But for the faithful and everybody else in the NFL to finally look at our quarterback and say, yeah, Brock really is the fucking real deal. Kyle Shanahan just wasn't talking shit. He didn't just throw away and get rid of our first round draft pick of a quarterback in Trey Lance just because he's a fucking idiot. He didn't risk that going on his resume because like they really knew what they had in Brock Purdy. You know, a lot of us questioned, oh, how's Brock going to be when he gets back from injury? Is he going to be able to do the same thing? Well, he showed us that already. And yeah, it's only 4 games, but like I said, 4 games that other quarterbacks aren't doing this shit. Other quarterbacks that are franchise quarterbacks are playing worse than Brock Purdy is.
And we've actually seen him let it fly now. You know what I mean? That was my big concern was, is it all coming back? And I think whether it's all back yet or will be or not, he's got enough. He's got enough. You know what I mean? Because he could be accurate with it. He doesn't really, I don't really want him doing 7-step drops. And if you're really going to do 7-step drops, you're going to have to get really far down the field. The only time you might need him to get really far down the field, farther than what he can, is like a bootleg scramble, like, I don't know, some way where he's trying to escape pressure and there's somebody, you know, going free down the field. That's the only time he really needs that deep ball. But if that's the case and that's what you have to bank on, then you've done a lot other wrong. You know what I mean? To get to this point. That's how I feel. Like and I was saying earlier on Ted's, I don't even care if he completes the pass. As long as he doesn't get an interception, unless it's like 3rd and long and you're essentially just giving an interception on the 5-yard line. I'm okay with that. But I feel that I just want him to throw those passes so they don't feel like they can creep up on us. They always have to be ready for it. So like last game when we took a couple shots, I was like, yes, this is what I like. Get everybody where they don't know what we're actually going to do. And you can't just play us one way because we're going to screw you the other. And we got it. Yeah. And it's on tape. I love that it's on tape.
Ever since the Frank Gore era, this defenses have stacked the box repeatedly on us. And we barely ever had an offense. Maybe once a blue moon with Kaepernick. We barely had an offense where we could just say, okay, you're going to stack the box. Okay, fine. Well, we're going to throw the ball deep on you guys. Mm-hmm. It's like, hopefully this is a consistent thing. Hopefully it wasn't just a one-time thing. Hopefully Shanahan's not scared to call it again. I know in the Rams game, Purdy had multiple times to throw deep and it just didn't work. And the one time he hit Jennings, I get it. Now, I wasn't being like, oh, wow, this guy sucks. Why can't he hit those passes? I was like, okay, it's unfortunate, but I just still had a good feeling, regardless of what mistakes Purdy makes, even at the Giants game, you know, the game I attended where he went 5 for 14 in the first half. Things looked bad in the beginning, but I still had a positive feeling about Purdy. It's like, it's just a confident. He just still puts out this confidence in me when I watch him. You know, you mentioned Jimmy earlier. There's always this contagious, like, whenever he was jittery and nervous, it kind of rubbed off on us, you know, and you even mentioned like how we weren't putting up points at times. And there have been multiple times, even with Jimmy, like we crossed the 50-yard line and okay, we're going to score a touchdown on this drive. Nope. We end up kicking a field goal. So many times we'd have field goals where we should be getting touchdowns. I feel like ever since Purdy took over, we're getting the touchdowns now. Last year we saw when, you know, George Kittle was getting a lot of touchdowns. He hasn't gotten them yet this year, but hopefully that picks up again. And in general, we're one of the most efficient offenses in terms of whenever we are in scoring opportunity, that we're going to get a touchdown more. So I forgot what the stats exactly were, but I believe we're tops in the league when it comes to that. So this offense is running like a well-oiled machine, and hopefully it continues. And again, the props goes to Purdy. They can say weapons this, weapons that, all they want, but I guarantee we put other quarterbacks in there, and they're not going to have the same results, you know. So it's, you know, I just don't want to see people. I see it from a few people here and there, but hopefully we stop hearing it, we stop seeing it, and Purdy gets the credit he deserves. He's doing. I mean, for the simple fact that he came back from the injury as fast as he did, that was a major eye opener. I had my doubts. I didn't think he'd be ready to like week 4, week 5, primarily because it was a serious injury. It was a rare injury that we barely ever saw. There was very few statistical data based on that injury. It wasn't like a common injury or anything like that. And with this Niner team, they'll say, oh, yeah, this player will be back by week 2. And then like it'll be like week 8, we finally see the player. That's normally how Niner injuries go, right? So of course I'm going to have my skepticism, but he's defied all odds so far, and hopefully it continues. And I'm really, really happy that he's our quarterback, and with all these weapons, and with Kyle scheming, and with the defense we have, I think we have a lot of good things to look forward to. So
the Griga is an angry individual, whoever that is.
Who? What happened with
Jimmy
that?
G? They like have gone off like on a whole Jimmy G tangent in the chat, like 6,000 paragraphs about Jimmy G. And then Kyle's whatever, and
the
Brock's
Griga guy
getting his credit, and like holy shit, like calm down, buddy.
Can I say something?
Yeah, his comments are too long for me to read. Go ahead, Ryan.
I think our offense needs to run horizontally through Brandon Ayuk, or vertically through Brandon Ayuk, and horizontally through Christian McCaffrey. And if we do that, everybody else will come out of the woodworks, because that's way too much each play to have to cover, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then everybody else can pop out in the middle there. And I think if we do that, that's just a recipe for success, because you just try and get Brandon Ayuk alone on an island all by himself out there so he could just play with his food. And then Christian McCaffrey, just fake it to him every time and then pass it to him. You know what I mean? It's really, you can hand the ball off to him. I love the idea of faking it to him, because they go, oh, he doesn't have it, right? And then he turns around and they just throw it to him, and they're like, oh crap, because it pauses them. They have to keep their space because they don't know what's going on, and they don't get to run in on him. I love that idea. So between that, Brandon Ayuk one-on-one on the outside and just faking it to Christian McCaffrey and then passing it to him, or just giving it to him, that's just nasty. So and people like Debo and the screens, like, you just come out looking like, oh, they're going to do that Christian McCaffrey thing again. And then you just do a Debo screen on the backside that they're not worried about it. Fake off to Christian McCaffrey, turn around, throw it to Debo. Now everybody's fucked.
Yeah. Seems like the chat, Sim says, what's up, Sim? Says, that's the ticket. Don says, totally agree with you. Throwback says he agrees. So yeah, it looks like everybody can envision that greatness. Yeah. So we talk about, obviously, Brock doing his thing. We know the weapons. The 49ers are scoring 30 points a great game. The defense is the defense. So all this great things, 4-0. It's not perfect, right? So what's one thing that you guys can tell me, maybe that's an area that the 49ers need to work on, maybe switch personnel, whatever it needs to be, whatever it is. What's an area of weakness that you guys see that the 49ers can improve to get better, down the stretch?
There's something going on with our coverage. I don't know what it is. At times it's pretty good, but there's definitely been some lapses, especially this past game, and that's kind of a little scary. The pass rush isn't hitting home like it should, and maybe if it did hit home, like we'd expect, we wouldn't see these crazy things happen in terms of the passing game. But yeah, there's definitely a concern for that. Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell, all these guys opposite of Bosa need to step the hell up. I think Bosa, for the most part, even though he's not getting the big sacks just yet, I think for the most part he still occupies double teams, and we've seen Hargrave get some sacks, but yeah, the coverage is pretty suspect at this point. And who knows, if we make a move, people want to say they want to get Patrick Surtain, but I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll see. We're getting Darrell Luter Jr. hopefully coming back soon. Maybe he could help, and I wish Womack would come back.
Yeah.
Where's our pass rush? We spent how much money? Where's our pass rush?
Pass rush.
That's the biggest thing to me. You talking about all this stuff on the back end, that can be erased immediately with pressure. In fact, it can go from being a liability to being an asset, because they don't necessarily need to cover. They just need to be watching for where the ball's going so they can make a play on the ball, because it's probably not going to be accurate. So that's That's, I think, the big thing is we're not getting the pressure. We're not getting the penetration that we need. That's the biggest thing, I think, to really get all the cogs working on the defense. We're trying to get there through blitzing, and I think we need to chill. I think the blitzing might be working against us. And maybe because you've got too many people filling up too many gaps, essentially. Everybody could be kind one-on-one with somebody instead of having two guys working on one guy and that person's stunt. And now you got two guys standing there holding air. I don't know. Might be wrong. Might be a little wrong. Might be a little right. Who knows? I just feel that we used to get home with 4.
Mm-hmm.
We should be getting home with 4 still.
That's the area of the team that was supposedly got better.
Wow,
Right?
money
Like
there.
we
We
had
didn't have a
Hargrave,
Hargrave. We didn't have a Hargrave last year.
and
yeah.
now it's like it's not getting home as often as they were even just last year. So I don't know. It is strange.
We could be getting played differently. That's something I need to kind of go back. If people are,
I mean,
nothing but max protect.
You see what Eric Armstead said about Daniel Jones yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. This is true though. Teams have been throwing the short passing game a lot against us. I mean, the quick passing game. They're not sitting back there for 3 or 4 seconds trying to throw the deep ball. They're like, okay, we know you guys have some beast pass rushers, Bosa and Hargrave or whoever else, and we're not. We're going to get rid of the ball as quick as we can. And Daniel Jones was doing that when they played us. And Eric Armstead tweeted about that, like, "Damn, why didn't you get to sit back there and let us do work on you like he did with the Seahawks?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny
Jones,
that he did that.
Man,
he sucks. I don't know why he got that contract.
And he's supposed to be a franchise quarterback.
Hell no. Purdy's way better than him.
Maybe our defensive tackles need to get their hands in the passing lanes early on in the rush to make them have to make decisions. Maybe switch off a certain thing or have to move to one side to maybe make things take a little longer so one of our edge rushers can get home. That's the only thing I could think. I don't like attacking that way, because the moment you get your hands up in the passing lane, I think all your forward progress as a rusher gets lost, and it's hard to start that because you go like this. Now you're exposed. They could just put their hands in your chest and push you back. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't happen immediately, but you're definitely not going to get more penetration after that part without being a beast of a man, which we do have some on our team, but that's not something I'm willing to consistently bet that we're going to be able to accomplish on the line. But that could be a way, get the hands up, make them have to look to the sides more instead of straight down the gut, because that's where they want to throw those passes, those quick passes on those slants. So if you get your hands up, they're going to have to find different angles.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff from Sim and Collie in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know about Hassan Reddick getting his first sack. That's pretty eye-opening. He had an amazing season last year.
Yeah.
He had some issue with his thumb or something.
Philly's not the same team to me overall, though. Yeah.
Who knows where they'll be? Who knows where they'll be, what they'll look like when we play them, though. I'm not writing them off.
I mean, it's all about matchups, so.
Not necessarily about matchups, but like right now they might not be firing on all cylinders. By the time we play them, which is later on in the season, they might be firing on all cylinders. Remember us last year? Yeah. What do we start out as? You know what I mean?
But I still think this team. I still think this team can get a whole lot better, even though we're 4-0.
Yeah,
this current Niner team,
Oh, the defense could be stopping people from scoring more than 14 points. I'm telling you. If we get that pass rush and shut things down, adios muchachos. Peace. Smoked.
That's a cool name in the chat. How about the Niners? Because we're playing the Cowboys this week.
Yeah, how about them Niners?
Yeah. So you Bash had mentioned Patrick Surtain. I guess what are some other players you think, if the 49ers, obviously, this is the best I've seen the 49ers look since I can remember. especially on the offensive side specifically. If they're like still, like say 6-0, 7-1. I don't know exactly when the trade deadline, lines up in the season, but let's say, they're still looking great, firing on all cylinders like they are right now. Do you see the 49ers, making a trade maybe for a cornerback, whether it's another outside guy and then you stick Diamador Lenore in the slot, or you can find a corner? If teams, shitty teams, they try to sell, right? If they're looking like shit when it comes to the trade deadline, maybe if we can get either or, whether it's outside or it's a slot, and then you move Diamador Lenore, to whatever place that person isn't. That would be like who I would like to look at. I don't know specifically like, a name of a person or who will be available, or, because supposedly the 49ers had already got the best slot there was, available, and we see how that's going. So is there any other positions, you would like the 49ers to look at, or, would it be cornerback, or, do you see the 49ers making a move, or maybe just staying with the team that we have?
Well, hopefully, I was just talking about Darrell Luter earlier. Hopefully he looks pretty good when we get him back, so we don't have to trade all our marbles for a corner. But you never know. But I've always been more about pass rush than anything else. So if we somehow find our way to get a stud pass rusher opposite of Bosa, even though we may have to give up some big time picks, I might be 100% for it. I just don't like the idea of renting a player for 1 year and blowing all your picks for it. At least to have that player for 2 years, maybe. But yeah, Bebop Jones mentioned Chandler Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he get arrested for domestic violence this past Friday? I don't see that happening.
Hey,
that's pretty.
I got a question. We got a first round pick next year. What if we traded somebody for, I don't know, our first round pick? We get a second back and we get an edge rusher. Maybe throw another little pick in there or something like that to make it, and he re-rent a guy for a year. 10 sack a year guy. Is that a go?
Might be. And in regards to trades and all this stuff, this is like the hardest thing to predict in football, in my opinion.
Maybe 10 sack a year is a little short for that much draft capital.
Well, you'd only be actually getting them for like half a year by the time the trade deadline's here.
But still, I'm not necessarily worrying about the amount of sacks. I kind of think like people get like anywhere between 3 and 4 pressures per sack. So, and shout out to, how about the 49ers? They were saying it's not just a sack, it's not just the only thing, pressures count. And yes, mm-hmm. Totally know that. It's just we haven't been getting a lot of pressure.
And Lo Jackson, formerly known as Lo the Truth, said trade for Daniel Hunter. If we could trade him for a third round pick, I'd do that trade in my sleep. So, but I don't know if it's going to be that easy, but I'd definitely take it.
He brought up Beal coming back. Beal's supposed to be the speed freak, which if anybody's going to plug and play mid-season without any sort of, needing to train on certain things, it's going to be a speed freak guy that could just go around the corner on somebody. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's the best scenario. For the best scenario to happen, that's the type of guy you want to be in that scenario.
Yeah,
and that's the best thing we need on the other side.
I haven't seen specifically if they've said like when he's supposed to be back, or I haven't heard nothing about him for a while.
I kind of just forgot about him because I was like, I'll just be happily surprised when he shows up on the field and does something cool. There's no sense in like stressing out about it. You know what I mean? It's not a thing we can really do anything about. So it is what it is.
I wanted the 49ers to get Hunter during the offseason. Like I would have wanted in my, perfect scenario that we would have traded Trey Lance there to the Vikings, and would have got somebody like Hunter back in return. But obviously, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this Arizona game a little bit. the 49ers handled them pretty easily, beat them 35-16. We know it's obviously Cowboys week, but the week prior we watched the Cowboys lose to the measly old Arizona Cardinals. So how do you your guys' summary of how you guys think this game went, how the team looked? I was looking on the score predictions. A couple of you guys were hella close.
Oh, you wrote down my prediction, huh?
Yeah.
I wasn't too far away. People were telling me I was overblown with my prediction. I was like, no, I don't know. I think we might get there.
So it was 35-16. Ryan had 35-17. So he's off by one number on the one end. And then Steph, when I do my show with her, I have her give her score prediction too. She had 34-16. So she was off one number on the opposite.
Shout out
from
Steph.
Ryan. Yeah.
Well, she should do it. She's a goat. Me, I blind luck. You know what I mean? I'm not. She's got a talent. I stumbled on something.
DL had 33-16, so he was pretty close, but we were all around that same range. So
hey,
I was 38-14. Mine.
Yeah. Here you gave. That's not what you gave to us.
Oh, really? I thought that was what did I say?
35-13.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Look, being in the 30s and being in the teens, and the score being in the 30s and being in the teens, it's like a bullseye. To me, that's like a bullseye.
So yeah, just your guys, how you guys think this game went overall, how you guys are feeling after the 49ers starting the season 4-0, whooping up on our division foes.
Frickin' jacked. I wish we could have won the Rams game a little bit better, more prove a point, but a win's a win, baby.
Yeah. So it feels good to know that I'm a little bit closer to that prediction than I thought I was, at least offensively. But predictions are predictions. It's good. It's good to make predictions. A lot of people don't want to do them for whatever reason, but I think it's okay to do score predictions. I'm okay with that. But as far as the season goes, we're looking good. And again, I feel really, really good about it because we haven't peaked. And I don't want to peak until when it really, really matters. But one annoying thing about this season, though, it's like, people say our division sucks and we got all these shitty teams in our division and we have an easy division. That's why we usually come out on top. But I'm sorry that whenever I sit there and watch a game and think like, okay, well, I guess these teams in our division suck, and I guess they're going to lose to whoever and help boost us up in our rankings. Like, these teams pull off wins against teams that people say that they're not going to win against. Case in point, the Seahawks and other teams. So it's like these are like nobody else across the league helps us in regards to our division. It's like we have to be this top-notch team, and we have no room for error. Almost, it seems like, And sure, it would have been nice to beat the Rams down a bit more. Usually we do, but we still own them. I mean, hopefully, if we do play them in the playoffs again, hopefully we beat them to the ground this time because they're way too cocky to act like they won the game that matters. And I wish we had Brock Purdy been our quarterback back then. I know he wasn't on the team back then. Had Purdy playing in that game, it would have played out differently, I think. But that's neither here or there because he wasn't on the team back then. But we all know how Jimmy is when it comes to quick clutch situations. He's not so clutch. But I just feeling good about this team in general, and hopefully these mixes, these things that we are messing up on, can be fixed, whether we make a trade or not. So who knows?
Well, now wait, Jimmy. What type of clutch? Because I've driven clutches that was like Jimmy. The shit was slipping out. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. You didn't know if you were going to be able to get up in first gear going up a hill. Oh man, it's like the third time I ever drove a clutch was a bad situation. Clutch was going out. It was on a hill. Oh, that's when I figured out about the power brake. Just power brake stop you, and then you can, once you get it going, you can let out the power brake and go up the hill. Yeah, that was fun.
I've never driven a clutch.
They're fun unless you're in like stop and go traffic, but they're fun to going up and
I
down.
never like clutches. Nope.
Oh, they're fun.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun in the city, so
no, it's not fun in the city. But if you're on the long back roads and whatnot, yeah, that's fun. Fun. Go up and down, up and down.
What up, fired up 49ers? I see you, bro. A good friend of mine.
What up? Thanks for
What's
stopping
that?
in.
He says, talking about how the defense, the offense looks to be the stronger of the two between the offense and the defense right now. But he says our defense would visually look okay if our offense wasn't so high powered. Where do you guys feel? What are your guys' thoughts? Are you okay with I'm excited to finally have an offense that's the one carrying the team, if you'll say. For so long it's just been the defense had to carry us and get the wins, carry and carry and carry. And finally we have an offense that can do the dirty work, that can put up points. Like I think it's just, once we start putting like 40 plus points on a team, like, I think that's what it can come to. It's the more trust and the more, everything that Kyle figures out with Brock. I think it can be a dangerous duo.
I'll
I
take
think
it.
it needs to be like that by the end of the season for the playoffs.
I was going to say, I'll take it this way for now, because we had so many seasons where the defense was better, and people say defense wins championships, blah, 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 blah. Well, it seems like all the teams that win Super Bowls usually had weaker defenses than us, but stronger offenses. So there's a give and take. I'll take it. And I think at the end of the day, when it matters towards when we're going towards the postseason, when we're in the postseason, the defense will definitely step up when they need to, and it won't be a problem. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Let's get into Cowboys. It's Cowboys week. I think if the defense decides to step it up at any time, now would be a great time. The defense, the Cowboys seem to be very defensive heavy themselves right now, and their offense has kind of been sputtering around. Their defense has definitely been winning the games for them, putting up points. But one of their main guys, cornerback Diggs is out for the season, so that's definitely a hit to their defense. But what are your thoughts, you guys? How you feeling about this matchup? Whatever you want to tell me.
Want to go first? Okay. All right. We obviously beat the Cowboys twice in the playoffs in recent years, right? Which is all fine and dandy, but those games are in the past, and I do get that. But at the end of the day, it's not like we blew them out either, And so those games were kind of down to the wire. And one fact though, from the last game, CMC didn't really have that great of a game. About 35 yards, I believe. Mitchell actually put up more yards than he did, and Mitchell had an okay game. But if we can get the CMC this MVP caliber type CMC that we've been seeing in these few weeks, I got the Niners all day in this game. I really do, especially from what I saw in that Cardinals game. The Dallas Cowboy defense could not stop Connor at all. So we'll see. And their run defense totally looked like crap. Hopefully we can set up the run game well in this upcoming game, and we won't have to worry so much about Micah Parsons against McKivitz. If you get that run game going, we're not going to have to worry about the pass rush so much. And one nice thing that I did see this past game with the Cardinals, I know a lot of people were ripping on McKivitz a lot and saying, hey, we should trade for a right tackle. And, McKivitz had one eye-opening play where he got spun around and looked stupid, and I get that part. But other than that, since the TJ Watt game against the Steelers, he's been a lot better pass blocking, we could say. But one thing that did worry me though is whenever we ran the ball effectively, it was only to Trent Williams' side, the left side. And this past game, finally, I saw some really nice effective runs with CMC on the right side. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully McKivitz can get the run game going on his side. A lot of people are ragging on Spencer Burford too. Spencer Burford's got to step up. Some people take PFF with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, if you have a 42 PFF rating, I don't know how you can make that look good. So he just definitely has to get better and play better too. So,
well, he's visually more so the liability on the line than McKivitz at this point, I would say.
And Symmetry asked if Jennings is healthy. I didn't hear about him. Did you guys hear about him?
Kyle said yesterday that he's going to be day to day, but that's all I've heard.
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays.
So when it comes to this Dallas game, I think that what happened in the Cardinals game, Ted brought up a great point about this. They were missing like 80% of their starting line. So that could be a little something. They still did get a lot of offense done, essentially, as far as yards go with the backups. They just couldn't score. And that might be a thing where you need your starters in there to push the defensive line around so you can get a couple rush yards so you can get your guy over the line. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's easier to run the ball when you get to the red zone in certain parts of the red zone than it is to pass. So if you don't have all the things that at your disposal, you might be hampered, and that might cause you not to score. What was our biggest gripe for the longest time? Our offense could go down the field, but we can't score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're dealing with field goals all the time. Had to pay $5 million for Robbie Gould because we needed to make sure that anytime we needed a field goal, we had to make sure we got that field goal, because we can't be missing opportunities of scoring a field goal because we need 2 to combat every touchdown. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a close game. I have a feeling that we're going to be up by a couple touchdowns, and they're going to come back in garbage time and close it within a touchdown. So I think we just need to play good, sound football. If we can get off to a good start and leave them in the dust and keep them there, I'll be happy. But I have a feeling they're going to try and creep back from the dead and narrow it down at the end. What's the spread? Anybody know?
I'm not sure. I'll look.
Well, Jerry Jones says that we might win the Super Bowl this year. Did you guys catch that?
I did see that.
Yeah, he says they are probably right now the team most likely to win the Super Bowl. And right, by the way, I just checked my Twitter feed, Miriah. You said check my people out. They're all killing it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about Sports After Dark, or are you talking about? I thought, okay, because their thumbnail has Taylor Swift and Kelsey. I was like, wait, are you hyping them two up or what?
No.
I got it. Yeah, shout out to Gina and them, Rod and Gina of the what's it called, Sports After Dark. They changed the name. Is that them?
No.
Oh, that's somebody else.
That's
okay,
Ashley and.
Okay,
no.
Okay. That's a different one. Yep, you're right.
So the Cowboys are +4 right now.
Oh,
wow. Cowboys are +4. Wow, America's team, huh? Wow. Okay. Hopefully that lights a fire under the 49ers' asses then, where they don't take the Cowboys lightly and they just totally just smash them. And
I need to go put a bet down.
I'm not a betting man, but I feel like betting right now too, man.
Bro, that's all right.
Yeah, Laura brought up LeBron James. It was a video I shared on my Instagram. I might have retweeted it on Twitter as well. LeBron James gave the Niners props. He's a Cowboys fan, so he said a lot of good things about our team.
He pretty much said, and one thing I noticed is he says they're well coached. And that's something a guy like him really, truly appreciates, because you could have a lot of talent on your team. If you guys aren't doing what you're supposed to when you need to be, you guys aren't going to win shit. It doesn't matter what talent you got on there if you can't get everybody going in the right direction. So he sees it like these guys are firing on all. Like when you watch our offensive plays, it's usually guys just firing on all cylinders and doing exactly what. Now, you might have a block that doesn't go like you need to here and there, but for the most part, that's on the outside. All the meat and potatoes in the middle of the actual working part of the play, that's getting done. And then you got a guy who's got vision jumping between the bodies, you know what I mean, making sense of this whole mess. And somehow we're putting up first downs. So I think anybody who is used to any champion can look at this team and understand why they are set to kind of get deep into the playoff this year if everybody stays healthy.
Yeah. So I saw Trey Lance trending earlier, and when I went to look at it, the first things that popped up were talking about Trey Lance giving the Dallas Cowboys all the 49ers info and helping them beat the 49ers. So, a lot of people talking about their concerns with that. And then Lombardi had tweeted and said, well, it kind of balances it out because the 49ers have cornerback Anthony Brown, who was actually on the Dallas Cowboys for 7 seasons. So if anybody was going to get the most info, it would be the 49ers getting it from Brown, since he has more years of info to give, right? Do you guys have any concern whatsoever with any of that BS? Do you think it's something to worry about? Do you think Trey Lance is going to give all the Cowboys all the 49ers secrets? Or do you guys not give a shit?
David Lombardi with the insight. Yeah, Lance probably knows a few things, but Shanahan will probably change a few things up too to disguise them. And we do have that one guy, Anthony Brown. I get that too. So, but I don't think that whether we get Dallas's info or whether Trey Lance has our info, I don't think those are major factors in deciding this game. But shout out to Snap Man in the chat. Says one of my people, boy on Twitter. Shaw Show's in the house. The Shaw Show Redemption, as I call him. So what up?
So
what up?
I don't think this moves the needle at all. And Trey Lance doesn't know this week's game plan. Brown doesn't know this week's game plan. Anything that they can tell them that they know that they can guarantee will happen a certain way is probably already on tape and could be found out that way. So to me, the only way it would help would be language. But you're talking about now everybody on that defense has to learn the language, or not everybody, or key people on the defense have to learn the whole language to understand what's going on. And to me, you're just doing more bad than good trying to throw that much on your plate when there's so much more you could be actually doing to get ready for the game.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I was so surprised because I'm like, what could he possibly be trending about, right? Like a third backup quarterback that's never even active, And he was like my number one trending thing. And so I'm like, when I went to it, I'm like, seriously, like this is what people are talking about on a freaking Tuesday morning.
Him and Mark Davis were the two top trending. And then I was like, why is Mark Davis trending? And there's this video circulating of Raider fans yelling at Mark Davis at the Chargers game, because Mark Davis, I don't know if you guys saw the video where Mark Davis was sitting at the Chargers game. It was exposed. It wasn't in a luxury box or anything like that. So they were looking up, yelling at him, and he was yelling back. It's kind of funny. But yeah.
That is funny. All right. So give me some score predictions and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. You want to go first, Ryan? Here we go.
Let's go.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let me think about it for a moment.
Okay. You're gonna think about it. I'm gonna say 30-20. Niners 30, Dallas Cowboys 20. We still get the dirty pretty 30. And the defense is gonna be tested a little bit. They got some good players on offense, but we just find a way to make it happen. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Go Niners. Come on, Ryan.
Steve-O has 22-14.
Okay, Steve-O.
Sim has a victory.
Okay, Snapman 30-23. Book it.
Book it.
I think Ryan has the Cowboys.
I want to say 38 to 31.
Well, okay, high scoring game there. Shootout. Okay, she's writing these scores down, by the way. There's going to be something called accountability.
38-31 Cowboys?
Niners. Crazy?
Can you say how about them cowgirls really loud with that voice?
Is this voice changer really changing my voice that bad so 49ers comes out as Cowboys?
Well, you said it so quick and quietly like you were trying to disguise something, so.
Well, you should know. You should know. All right, come on. We ain't losing it.
Fired Up 49ers says 31-27. It's a close one. I'm going to go. This is definitely the toughest one so far of the season. And I think the biggest test so far of the season. Whew. Let's go Man, this is hard. I'm gonna go 23-31, 49ers.
There you go.
It might be closer than that, but I just don't want to, in my heart or brain, put it out there in the atmosphere on my paper that it's gonna be anything other than that. I would love it to be able to keep it like a 2-score game, not have to be shitting my pants because it's a close game and we're fighting back and forth and all that. So, yeah. If we could just take the lead early and keep the lead the entire game, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Just leave them in the dust. Watch their souls get crushed. You know what I mean? See the moment when they hang their head and they know they've been beat, but there's still 2 quarters left. Well, a quarter and a half. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. One of them games. I want them to know they're as big a losers as I think they are. I want them to know it, though.
Dawn had said her score prediction is 37-12. I will be so happy with that. And then she also says that Jayla has been talking smack to her bestie Haley because she's a Cowgirls fan. I love it that the little ones have already engaged in this type of behavior. Great to teach them young, get them already knowing that Cowboys are the bad people in life, and
Yes.
all that good stuff. You guys, what do you guys have going on the rest of the week to tell the fine people about? Bashar's gonna say, I don't know, because I was just spur of the moment shit. So turn on the bell.
I was just about to say something.
I was texting with somebody about a show, but we haven't got it locked down yet. So
I don't know. I've had bad luck trying to book people. I'll be honest. It's been really, really, really shitty. But Fridays, I'm gonna be streaming with everybody's favorite character in the 49er atmosphere.
Oh,
Ted Talks Ball. So it's gonna be a Ball and Bash and Ted on Friday. And if there is anything else coming up, I'll let you guys know.
I thought you were going to say somebody so much worse as preparing, but
okay.
Glad to hear that it was just Ted.
I don't know who else could be worse. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Just not in my opinion, but in the Twitter world's opinion. Apparently, Ted's public enemy #1 right now.
Oh, I've seen people are upset and like
they making memes and.
Oh man, whatever's clever.
Mm-hmm.
People still turn into the show, so he's not fazed by it.
Exactly.
And he's retracted certain things. You know what I mean? He's retracted certain statement. It's not because people are talking shit about him. It's because he, in his heart, believes it's different. You know what I mean? And so he's just saying, "Hey, look, he's a stark critic about Purdy." Okay. Just like people are very big fans.
Yeah.
I honestly
don't get so upset.
I honestly
if you got a problem with them, then prove them wrong with your philosophy, with your facts, with your mental.
So Ted was at every day of camp, and there were multiple days in camp where Purdy was throwing a lot of interceptions. So maybe had Ted not attended those days, he wouldn't be as skeptical, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's what warped him a little bit. And I get it. If you see something that happens to you in front of your eyes, it may change the way you think about something.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, maybe it was just Purdy he had a crazy injury, right? Maybe it's just him getting used to things because his arm was all messed up and getting back in the swing of things. So therefore he got his bad throws out. Whatever it is, by the time the regular season came around, in my opinion, he looks better than he did last year. That's my honest opinion. So I think Purdy's got a lot of room to grow, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Ryan, what you doing? What you got going on?
Well, tomorrow I should have the rivalry with Joe Stevens on his channel. Make sure to check out Joe Stevens Seahawk Talk. He's a good dude, even though he's a Seahawks fan. We have a good time over there. And then Wednesday night, you'll catch me on Corey's Pick'em show. So tune in this week to see how I did on the Pick'ems this week and everybody else. And if you enjoy doing Pick'ems, just come in, let yourself be known. Say you want to be a part of the Pick'em things. He'll make a little sheet for you. He'll start recording your picks, and you can become a part of the show too. Friday night, it was on Corey and I's shows last week. So I think it's a David McNiner and a Bryant Culp week, and maybe somebody else in there too. But yeah, Friday nights, check us out. You'll see us streaming. We start at 7:00. It'll be on one of the 5 channels.
That reminds me, because you said Joe Stevens. I was just bored the other day, and I was looking. I was just on YouTube searching, and I typed Tom Grossi in Seattle, and I watched a couple of videos of Tom Grossi in Seattle. One that Norbcam put together. If you guys know who he is, the big Seattle Seahawks.
We were talking to Norcam out there.
Okay, yeah, dude, I watched the videos and it looked like a small crowd. I could not find you guys, dude. On the 49er when I saw Brian Culp and John Jay, but I couldn't see you guys. Were you wearing a Niner jersey or a Niner shirt or not?
I was wearing a Niner jersey. He was wearing a Seahawks jersey.
I couldn't see you guys in the video, dude.
So in the video where you see Tom Grossi, right? If you look, it's looking at a side of a building, right? And so his back's at the street. So we're off to his left behind the big, huge crowd because we weren't going to be all just like, hey, let's get all in here. I wasn't trying to, be on all the sweaty dudes. So I was chilling back, waiting for Joe to show up. Joe showed up. Then, you see video footage from the beginning part where they're in that big, huge cluster right in front of the building. Then he realizes he's not really getting through anybody. He's just sitting there and talking to the people in the front. So he moves over to the side of the building, behind where we're positioned. And so we end up being 5 or 6 person in line. We jump in there real quick. Hey, talk to him. He's, oh, thank you. And then we bounced and went and got some beers.
So you were there when, are you on the Norbcam video? Because I was looking for you on the Norbcam video. Couldn't find
you. We were, so before they moved everybody over, Norbcam had already gone through the crowd and talked to Tom Grossi and given him stuff, and he was kicking out to the side, and I was like, well, since we're not really in line to see Tom Grossi right now because we're waiting for that thing to thin down, we'll just talk to Norbcam. So we're talking to Norbcam. I gave him my business card, my No Border Sports business card, and Joe Stevens gave him his business card, and he was looking at it like, this is ingenious. And I was like, you didn't think about this? It's got a QR code on there. You could just dink, go right to our channels, our Twitters, all that. He's like, this is smart. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Well, he's got such a gigantic following. It almost doesn't even matter with Norbcam. Yeah. I figured, why did he get you on camera, though? You're a Niner fan. He always likes to shit on the Niners and go back and forth with Niner fans. And stuff.
He wasn't recording at that point in time. We were just talking.
That's weird. He should have had you on there, man.
Yeah, well, I think he probably was maybe recording a little bit later. Because he was recording when he went into the circle there, if I remember correctly.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So he was recording when he went into the circle. You might even see us in the background then as he's walking in, but I don't know if he used that because I don't know.
It's all good.
But yeah, we were there. There was a very pretty lady that gave us free drinks.
Okay. Right.
All right. So me tomorrow, I will be on Wednesday on with TL for our normal weekly show at 3:30 Pacific time. We will also be giving away an autographed Samuel Womack card tomorrow for us getting to 600 subs. As well on Twitter, we are also giving away a Sam Womack autographed card, as well as an autographed Elijah Mitchell photo. So be on the lookout for that as well coming up this week. And then Thursday, I'll have my normal show, the Two Goat Show with Steph at 3 Pacific time. We do have a Cowboys fan coming on for the Through Her Eyes episode. So that will start at 3. We'll have her on for 30 minutes, and then we'll have our 30-minute show afterwards. So, yeah, I think that's it. As long as you guys don't have anything else, we will get out of here.
We good.
All right,
sure you don't want us to talk about Norbcam?
Yep, I'm sure, because nobody gives a shit. Everybody already left. Thanks. So hopefully next week when we see you, we'll be on whose channel? We'll be on Bashar's channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed to all 3 channels: 49er Minded, No Border Sports, 49 faithfully, because we do rotate this podcast every week. So next week we will be on 49er Minded's channel at 6 Pacific time on Tuesday. We will see you back then. Hopefully we are 5-0 when we see you guys. Make sure you guys check out the rest of the things that we're doing this week as well. And yeah, much love, fam. We're out of here. Go Niners.
Fuck Cowboys.
Beat the Cowboys.